Step by step, I've walked 100 miles and I still ain't sure just what I'm trying so hard. The night seems longer and the wind blows louder when you wandered so far from home. If I cross your mind, say a prayer, I'll find my way and get off of this lonely road.
Can you hear me? Tell me, can you hear me? I've been calling out for help, still don't see nobody near me. I'm in the valley, I can't even tell you which way is the mountain. God, the only word I got, I could probably plant a garden, all this dirt I got. Trail of broken hearts behind me from the hurt I bought. Sometimes I really start to wonder if I deserve my spot. Cause I'm just a man who's got blood all on his hands. But does a humble sinner still deserve a chance? Hey, say a prayer for me, I think you in
Step
advance.
100 miles and I still ain't sure.
Yo.
Back.
We're back after
I was like,
a brief hiatus.
I was like, it's good to have a pod going again. It's been a while. He's like, yeah, it feels like it's been a couple of weeks. I'm like, it has been a couple of weeks.
Remember, that's back to back to back shows. We had, Chisel, then the Universe, and then Nicole competed in her first show. It's one of those things, man. Sometimes
Yeah, we've
life
been
gets the
busy.
best of us.
Let's see. You got finally got the tan off.
Yeah, the tan has been coming off slowly. You know how it is, little by little.
You
Pro
got Callie
tan.
joining.
Hey, sorry guys.
How's it
You
going,
get back from
Callie?
your massage.
Good. Yeah, just last minute
We can wait.
preparation.
You can hop on when you get home if you're like on the go.
I mean, either way works for me, honestly. I'm always on the go anyways.
You're good. We can. Yeah, Callie, can you turn your phone horizontally, or is that gonna mess up your GPS?
Like this way? Is
Yeah,
Yeah,
there
it's
you go.
perfect.
that better?
Yeah. How was the massage? Again, deep tissue work?
Yeah, deep tissue work, some stretching for to help with posing and whatnot.
You're a couple days out, right?
Yep, Friday.
Exciting.
Very
What
excited.
what show are you doing?
USA's in Vegas.
Okay. Yeah, that's the one that Danny's doing that show as well, G, right?
Yeah,
Mhm.
he's done it.
Okay.
Is your
That's
first time doing the USAs? Is your first time doing the USAs, Callie?
Yes, yeah, it's my first time. This will be my second national show. My first one was nationals in Texas in 23. So this will be my second attempt.
So your first national, because you've won what, 4 overalls now?
4 overalls, and this will be my second national show.
Is there a reason why you've waited to do more national shows, or just
So my feedback when I did nationals the first time was I was just too small. I quite literally looked like a bikini chick on top because I think people are now starting to realize it more, but there's such a gap between local and national level shows in terms of
Yes.
physique and sizing and everything. You quite literally, I mean, I took a whole year and a half off just to grow in order to be competitive at a national show. So at local shows, they say, hey, you're ready, and it's not even close to where you need to be to go to nationals.
So it kind of goes to what Alex, what we were talking about as starting like a starter. There should be something before regionals to get you to regionals to get you to nationals.
Mm-hmm.
Because yeah, go ahead,
yeah,
Alex.
what I was saying is that even the regionals now for, let's say, men's physique and a lot of these divisions are so competitive. My first show was back in 2022. Even now, where they're at, I mean, there was a guy that came third in it chiseled, and then he got his pro card at Universe as an MP guy. So I think they should have a regional qualifier show to go to regionals.
I think you're picking up background noise.
Yeah, there's some background noise coming in.
Might be me. Hey, Pop, turn it down, please.
But yeah, I just think they need to tier it a little more, have a little bit more of a filter. Because at regionals you'll see a handful of guys or girls that quite honestly are national ready, and then you'll see people that it's their first show. I personally think the novice and true novice divisions should just be put away with and just make, a starter show as a regional qualifier and then kind of move on from there.
Mm-hmm. Well, isn't that kind of how they used to do it, where it'd be like you compete at a local, like small show, and then you'd kind of work up to the bigger local shows, and then you'd go and compete at state. And if your chairman gives, like the nod, that like if you win state, then that's kind of like you're okay, you're possibly nationals ready.
I'm
So
not
there's
sure.
like a longer process.
Mhm.
When was that? Like probably pre 2020.
Yeah, it's been a while since they've kind of ran it that way.
Well,
But that's how they used to do it.
size is definitely not your problem anymore.
No, no, I don't think it's the
Yeah,
problem
we were on your
anymore.
page earlier.
If anything, it's
Yeah,
I was surprised. I'm like, wait, she's not a pro? Like you're like pro ready, like
yeah.
competing with a lot of these.
What did they tell you to bring up?
So when I went to Detroit, my feedback was I was borderline too lean and my upper needed to come down. I was too proportionate top to bottom. So they're like either bring your legs up more or bring your upper down. So I haven't touched upper
This show?
since yes.
Okay.
So they said I was too proportionate from top
Yeah.
to bottom.
You have
So
a
they're
big arm.
saying like you're
Yeah.
more like figure.
I could see that.
Yeah.
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 And I don't want to do figures.
Nah,
No.
no, you look great.
You're about as
Thank
wellness as they come.
Yeah.
I love the category because I think it's the perfect mixture of like masculine and muscle versus like sexy and feminine.
Yeah, it adds
It's the
that
perfect combo.
femininity.
Well, these bikini girls are no joke anymore. I mean, it's kind of like when you're walking around and you run into an NFL player. You're like, "Mel, that guy's massive. He must be like a linebacker," and it turns out to be like a safety. Um, so a lot of times people think that these bikini girls are actually in wellness or figure, and I'm like, no, that's a
Mhm.
bikini girl.
Yeah, no, the bikini
You
girls
should
are
see the wellness
jacked.
legs. If you want to see wellness legs, I'll show you wellness legs.
Yeah, no, bikini's getting jacked.
Yeah,
That's why they had to add the fit model.
Mhm.
they need that for guys too.
What are you? What are you guys' opinion about fit model?
I think it's fine. I personally don't think they should be handing out pro cards yet. I think that they should wait a year or two to really figure out the criteria, allow these athletes to follow the criteria, train for that criteria. Um, I get it. Obviously, they want to give that excitement to draw people to want to do it. But personally, I think that they should, just like how they're not even doing the Olympia for it yet. I think next year the Fit Model will have
Mhm.
Olympia. I think it's the same thing with pro cards. I think it should delay it all. Maybe wait 2, 3 years for the Olympia and give pro cards next year. But I think overall, I'm fine with them adding that division. Personally, I think that the men need it even more. You have guys that are winning a classic and NP division at the same show. They'll bring both shorts and it's kind of like if you see a figure girl winning bikini at the same show, it doesn't really make sense to me.
Mhm.
So I think with
Mhm.
only really three divisions for guys, like they really need more. Um, but I think it's obviously a good business move for the organization, and I do think it's needed. But
Yeah, it attracts a different clientele to a whole different category. A lot of the bikini models were too small for bikini, and now they have a more, niche category for the beginners, I guess you could say.
Yeah, you can definitely see like the vision of kind of like what they were wanting out of it come to fruition. You can definitely tell the difference for sure between the two. Um I'm not so I'm kind of like with you, Alex, about the whole pro card thing. Like they call it an entry level division, so why are we giving out pro cards for that?
Yeah, because it doesn't make sense because you're able to transition from divisions once you have a pro card.
Mm-hmm,
So it's kind of like an easier gateway for some people.
mm-hmm.
but you can't do if you're a pro, you can do whatever division you want, but you can't do this two different divisions at the same show. Like that guy Von Walker we were talking about, he went pro and he did MP yesterday at Chicago, but he couldn't also enter in a classic. Whereas in NPC, you can do multiple, you could do all of them if you wanted to. So yeah, it is interesting. I mean, if they're gonna talk about taking away someone's pro card if they don't compete in, I think it was like 5 years now. If you don't compete in 5 years, you have to get your pro card again. I don't know why they wouldn't make someone get if you want to go from wellness to say figure, that you would have to get a pro card all over again to go to figure if they're going to be like that.
Hmm.
Um, Again, if this is such a criteria based sport, then they should really stick with that. Like, it doesn't really make sense for someone to go pro in one division, then just be able to switch once they get there.
Hmm.
But overall, it's good for the growth of the sport for sure. We were also talking about how, well, personally, when I go to a show, I feel like I'm watching Masters like 60, 70% of the time. They should do completely separate shows for Masters and allow the people in their prime to really have their limelight. There's nothing wrong with people wanting to compete as master. I just think it should be separated because then you have people that do masters as well. And so the amount of time that you're taking up in a masters, I mean, we've all been to shows and it's like all you feel like you're seeing is 55, 60. And I think they should cut away with the 35 plus category because to be honest, as a guy, you're in your muscular prime at 35. Like I'm 35 right now, doesn't really feel like a master. You really need to be a masters. I think they should do 40 and over, and that's it. Like if you're a 50-year-old, then you better look really darn good as a 50-year-old if you're going to go against the 40-year-olds. I don't think they should have a division for every 5 years. I think they should just do 40 and up. You get to be a masters, and then you'd have to do a master specific show, and just let these regular shows be open.
Hmm.
I think it would run
Yeah,
a lot smoother.
that does take a lot of the time too, is the Masters division. If you're going by every 5 years.
It takes forever. Because like
Yeah.
I said, you're gonna have guys and girls that do both. They'll do a 35 class and an open class. Like in September, I'm gonna do a
Yeah,
35
and it's
class
the
and
same.
open.
It's the same people. It's the same people that do
Yeah,
it too.
yeah. So I think there's been a lot going along about these posing routines and how some of it's getting out of hand, and and also the level of competition, right? Like I think what we talked about earlier, having a regional qualifier will start to filter out the people that really don't belong on stage yet. Again, there's nothing wrong with wanting to be on a stage. It's just there are people that take this sport very seriously. Like everyone on this call right now, like we take the sport very seriously, and I think there should be a time and place for everything.
100%.
Um, but Chris, you just got off stage, your first national stage. How do you feel?
Man, it's definitely a different experience. I could say I see where the big gap is between like, your regional shows and the national shows. Everyone looks good at nationals, you know. Um,
Mhm.
it 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 wasn't as anxious. I wasn't as anxious as I thought I would be. And shouts out to the production company and the promoters and everyone that put the show together because hey, compared to last year's universe, this one was like you're in and out. It was like very smooth.
Way
I
better.
I remember last year we were backstage with G for hours, man.
Yeah.
And just the meal timing itself,
Well,
that's
they
hectic.
split up with another day, right? Because you went on Thursday.
Yeah, I went on Thursday. It was figure, fitness, and physique, I think, on Thursday.
Is it
Kylie, how did they split it up for you guys this week?
All girls, all women are on Friday, and all men are Saturday.
okay?
Okay. So that might be a longer show now, depending how many
Hmm.
people are coming out. How do you feel, Kylie, approaching this national show? You coming in with a different mentality, right?
Completely different. And honestly, I'm just ready to get it done. Like this has been, over about 2 full years, like in the making to kind of see all this go into fruition, whatever. But I'm just ready to do the damn thing.
So
So,
Yeah. Well, you
but
you, you got
I'm
patience here.
excited. I feel really good.
You have to be patient. You're a mother, right?
Hmm.
You got how many kids?
Yep, and patience is not one of my strong suits. I have one. I'm a
You
single
have
parent.
okay. And yeah, I mean, as a single parent, you gotta even have more patience, I imagine.
Hmm.
How do you
I have to.
balance all of that?
Well, first and foremost, I have to give my child all the credit. I mean, she's only 4, but she's very engaged, knowledgeable. Because I mean, bodybuilding it's a lifestyle change, right? So that includes not only a lifestyle change for you, but also the people that are around you that live with you and whatnot. So it's affected her just as much as me, and she's been absolutely fantastic about it. Like she knows like there's certain foods I can, certain foods I can't eat. She knows about my water. Like she's constantly asking me, Mom, have you drinking your gallon today? When I just got my massage done, she was actually helping my massage lady massage my feet. Like, so she's very engaged with
That's
it.
cute.
Who's in too?
And not only is she engaged with it, she likes she likes it. She asks questions. She goes to shows. She wants to be a bikini girl, and I'm like, honey, I'm so sorry, but you do not have the genetics for that. But like, she even like wants to compete now all of a sudden. So I got to give my child her flowers. She's incredibly patient with me as well. So it's as smooth as it has been because she's been so great, honestly, with it.
That's dope. That's dope being able to, I mean, because you're still watering her and it seems like she's watering you too. So when that, when that positive
Mm-hmm.
energy goes back and forth, it makes things a lot easier.
Mm-hmm. And we've always, and ever since she was born, we've always been incredibly active. So she's also used to that. So with the whole like lifestyle change with bodybuilding, it wasn't too drastic of a change. I mean, when she was 2 weeks old, I have pictures of me breastfeeding her while I was coaching on a soccer game. Like, so we're constantly on the go. We've always been active, very fit family. So that's
Does
just
she
something
play any sports?
she does soccer, dance, and she just finished with swimming as well. And she also wants to get into basketball and volleyball.
Oof,
So it
man,
all wants to do it all.
Back to.
Yeah, I'm like, go talk to grandpa. Go talk to your grandparents. And see what he's saying.
Hey, it's good. It's good to learn what you like early on.
Mhm,
And when you do multiple sports, they've shown studies that it will help you with whatever sport you end up sticking with.
mhm,
Being able to be well-rounded and bring different elements. I mean, I used to play semi-professional lacrosse, so um, completely different sport, but there's a certain mentality trait that you just carry through all of them, and it also helps you to look at a sport in a different light, a different perspective, as opposed to say sticking with one sport your entire life. You're
mhm.
kind of in that bubble the entire time. So definitely good for her to get out there. It's just going to keep you busy.
Yeah, that's actually probably one of the most common questions I get asked because I coach soccer. I played soccer my entire life and I still play. And so I get asked all the time, how is that? How am I able to do both? Because I do still play. I actually had a game today, but I ended up not going just because I don't want to risk getting injured for this week,
yeah,
obviously.
5 days out, your body's,
Yeah, I was like, eh. But the other times, like my coach doesn't like me doing it, but I mean, soccer and bodybuilding are two of my passions in my life. But I played soccer my entire life, and I never stopped playing. Even after I stopped playing in college, I've always been in adult leagues. So I think my body just adapted to when I started because I started powerlifting first, and then I transitioned to bodybuilding, and all the while I was still playing soccer. So I think
yeah,
my
because you're
body just
using different
adapted
muscles,
to
right?
it.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
you're using different muscles, your fast twitch muscles, a
Mm-hmm.
lot. Because I play flag football too, and I was thinking about this yesterday. I'm like, oh man, a flag football season's coming up, and should I do it? But I haven't played flag football in a couple months. Is my body gonna respond? You get scared of injury because now
Mm-hmm.
your main focus is getting the pro card. Do you play what, indoor soccer or full
Both.
field?
Oh, indoor soccer is so much fun.
Yeah.
Yep. I do indoor and I do outdoor.
Well, Calix, I saw on your page you went to, I think it was a Premier League game or something, because I'm a huge Chelsea fan. I grew up in London.
Are you?
Yeah, I grew up in London. I played soccer all growing up and through high school. So I get the bug. I can't wait for the World Cup next year.
I'm so excited. I got my granted we don't know who's gonna be playing in the match, but my best friend and we got tickets to the bronze medal match in Miami.
Oof,
So I'm
that's
super excited about that.
that's exciting. I'm in
Are
Los.
they playing it at the stadium? At the Miami FC stadium?
Mm-hmm.
Wait, Cal, where do you live? Are you in Chicago or
I'm in Huntsville, Alabama, actually.
Alabama? Okay, I was like, I don't. Usually Central Time, you're just thinking Chicago, but yeah.
I mean, you can go ahead and say that I don't sound like I'm from Alabama. I would really appreciate that.
Yeah, at all. Like I
I
didn't
mean,
pick
not
up
really.
any
I
accent.
mean, you saying it, I'm not shocked, but at the same time, I wouldn't have just like picked that for you. But
Mhm.
did you just get to your place?
I got my gym.
Oh, you're gonna gym.
Yeah, if you guys want, real quick, I can run in and grab walk into the office real quick. That way, there's not like
Yeah,
background
take
stuff.
your time. Take your time. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
No
Just hop.
problem.
Do you guys want me to just call you right back, or you just want me to keep you on the
Yeah,
line?
you
You can either go
call
off
us right
cam
back.
if you want to come off and come back on, whatever works for you.
Like, I'll take it off just so you guys aren't having to listen to all this background stuff. It'll be
Okay.
like two
Perfect.
minutes.
Okay.
Perfect. Thanks.
Chris Rolls, quick segment back to your universe. Really pumped for you. I think it was a good look. As I said, I think back size is is obviously a huge positive for you. That's never really gonna be an issue. I thought you probably had like a top five back in that class, and I'm curious to hear what G thought about it. I think um, I think you have a good core. I think it's just like your core is kind of it could go into classic because you look at like the guy next to you with like the non-existent core, right? And this is
Yeah.
where it's like
It's
if we
like
were to
no
max
waste.
out your physique, like where would Chris look the best? And I think it's not necessarily a bad problem to have. It's all how you look at it. But
Hmm.
like I think obviously you have a lot of room to grow in men's physique. This was your first show, so you were a rookie all over again, getting into nationals. But I think overall, solid showing. It's not like you didn't look like you belonged. I think like conditioning, tightness, and dryness would be helpful. But like in reality, you'll have options in the future, I think, as you continue to go. But I'm curious to hear G's thoughts on this as being, the coach of it all.
Yeah. I think I think he looked great for his first national show, and like you said, definitely one of the more dominant backs in that open class, if not one of the best ones up there. Maybe not the most conditioned, but the best muscularity wise. So all I think that we need to do is just come in a little bit tighter and fill him out more from the front. But like you say, it's more structural than anything. Um, and I think not moving up a class, but just maximizing the weight cap that he will have as a pro. He was what was your weight here? Like 175 or 170?
No, bro. Remember, we burned through a lot of stuff. I was like 171, 172 right here. So
Yeah.
I could definitely have some room to
Put on
grow.
yeah, you put on 10 pounds of muscle like on your torso and your chest, your delts. You just add more width, I think, into the frame, and that will accentuate your V taper, you know.
Hey,
And the
I,
Chris,
yeah,
do you
I,
see?
I I even think arms you can add a little bit more in your shoulders, like just all around, just upper
the upper portion.
torso. Yeah,
I think, Chris, do you see how? I mean, I just see this guy how he's clearly contorting his waist over a bit more,
yeah,
and he's kind of elongating this kind of part of his torso,
Yeah, he's
and
leaning forward a little
it's
bit.
it's like he's shoving those hips back, and it's all comfort. It's all like muscle memory, and you've already made so many strides in the posing. You don't want to overthink it. I think there's still things we can do with the posing to help manipulate that a little bit. To G's
Hmm.
point, I think you have big shoulders, like you have the size of the shoulders, but obviously the more you add to it, the
The more
better.
yeah.
rounder. Yeah.
Just
The
because it's
crazier the
a
look.
yeah, just because it's a wider waisted comparison to the guy that won that class. But hey, Callie, and she's
Hey,
back. Um,
sorry about that.
Oh,
You're
you're
fine.
good. We have plenty to talk about while you're gone. Do you coach at a gym?
So I personal train at a gym.
Okay.
I do in person, online, and I also coach soccer for one of the high schools here in town and one of the club soccer organizations here too.
If we could just turn your cam to the
Oh yeah, sorry.
Yeah, no, you're
You're
good.
fine.
Um, which gym are you at?
Phase three.
Phase three. I'm not as familiar with the Alabama gyms. Is it like old school or more new school?
No, it's actually probably the most it's definitely the biggest and it's arguably the most popular gym probably in town for sure. And I would probably even say North Alabama. But it's a huge like commercial gym.
Right.
It's not like the old school iron kind of gritty
We train
gym
at
by any means.
we're at Fitness System. It's I don't know, John De La Rosa is an Olympian. It's his
Hmm.
gym. Um, I love it. It's like it's kind of old school. It's just the vibe is a lot of pro and amateur bodybuilders, and everyone's super positive but serious at the same time.
Hmm.
Especially in the first half of the day, I try to go early in the morning, and that's typically when the serious lifters are there. Um, But even like the staff like remembered my name after like 2 weeks, and I'm just like, how do you remember me?
That's pretty cool. Yeah, we have a gym here. We have two gyms here, Chucks and Champs, and they're very much like old school, like all the old equipment. They have, the garage doors on the side that you can lift up. Like it's grungy and sweaty and gross, and it's the absolute best. Like you have all the gym sisters in there and everything. Like that's my vibe. That's where I want to go.
I love the explanation. It's gross, but it's awesome at the
It's
same
gross, but
time.
it's great. Everybody's sweating on everything. Just it's great.
Well, we were talking because we would like to own a gym ourselves one day, and I was like, well, why don't we just do both? You come in, you either go right or left. The right side is old school, the left side's new school. Like you have the
Hmm.
hex lighting on one side, you have the old school on the other, like, all the ripped up machines or whatever. Just give a choice.
You might
Hmm.
you might get tetanus. It's a 50-50.
50-50. If you go to the left, you're gonna get tetanus.
I like having a home gym, but I also like having a few other gyms to go to
Hmm.
sometimes just to change up the machines or the vibe. Um,
Hmm.
there's another gym I go to. If I have to go late at night, which is rare, I'll go to a different gym that's more of a private gym where it's a little less busy because I can't do our main gym at night. It's just like a huge clusterfuck.
That's the problem with the gym that I work at. Anything past 4 o'clock, at one time we probably have close to 500 to 600 people in here. I'm not even joking.
That's a club. That's not
How
even a
big is
gym.
It's yeah,
the
it's
gym?
butts to nut. It's awful. Like it forces us PTs to get really creative because everything is taken and there's no room anywhere.
Must be
And you can't even superset because once you leave that machine, someone's gonna hop right back on it.
God no, no. You can superset with a band and maybe some piece of equipment you brought from home, but it's just crazy because it's very much a social hub here. It's a lot of younger adults, especially now with the summer being here. Kids are back from school for the summer, so it's very much so kind of more of a social hub here. Which I'm glad that they're at least in the gym moving, but it's also like okay, move. Like if you're not gonna actually do anything, move.
Are you gonna be in Alabama for the foreseeable future, or do you ever have plans of moving somewhere else?
I So fun fact, I actually never even planned to move back. So in 2014, when was it 2014? No, 2013, I was entering my summer after my sophomore year of college, and I had 10 friends pass away, all separate, non-related,
Wow.
everything from crazy freak accidents to homicide, murder, like all over the board. So after my 10th friend passed, this is a very long, extended answer to what you just asked me. But after my 10th friend passed, I was like, you know what? Screw this. I want to do something to help people. And I'm a huge 9/11 buff. I've always been very much into like history and the military and all that. So after my 10th friend passed, I was like, you know what? I want to do something to help make a difference and to help people. So I was like, all right, I'm going to do the military. And when I was doing my research, the Coast Guard was, defense versus offense. It was more helping people versus attack. And so I joined the Coast Guard and absolutely loved it. I did everything from search and rescue in Alaska to I did counter narcotics special operations in Miami. So I've lived in Alaska, I've lived in Miami, I lived in Mobile, I lived in Charleston. So I got to, in between all those stations, I also got to go to some crazy trainings all over. I've been to all over the country, I've been in South America. So having said all that, I never planned on moving back to Alabama. I mean, Alabama's great. It's fine, but it's just after you do something like the military and you visit all these different places, you're like, why in the world would I ever want to go
Yeah,
back?
your eyes
So
open up.
right. It's like, why would I lived there my whole life. Why would I want to do that?
Yeah.
But so at the time I was actually living in DC and that's when COVID hit. And so my dad owns a business here. And I don't remember exactly how it worked out, but his workers were deemed as his work was deemed essential, but his workers weren't. So I temporarily moved back just to help my dad with his job. I thought it was temporary. And 2 weeks later, took a pregnancy test and it lit up like a Christmas tree. So I stayed. And that's just kind of how it's been because my parents and my sisters, I have two younger sisters, they're all here. So they've helped a lot. And everybody else is still up in Michigan. But it was really because I got pregnant, is how I ended up back here permanently. But do I want to stay here for it? Absolutely not. No, no,
It's
no.
good you have the
It's,
support though. I mean, it takes a
mhm.
village. I was in the military as well, and I know how hectic that life is to raise a kid
Hmm.
and, you know, family. But you're
Hmm.
active duty Coast Guard?
I was.
That's crazy. Usually we make fun of Coast Guard because, you know, like they're, you know all the jokes
We're
the
puddle
military
pirates.
says.
Everybody makes fun of us.
But no, you did actual real work, so, you
Real
know,
shit, yeah.
yeah,
Real
good
shit.
shit.
Yeah.
Good shit
Yeah,
for
I
doing
got to
real
do
shit.
some really badass stuff. That was really, really cool.
Yeah, I,
I do miss that part sometimes. But I got out in 2019. I served about 6 years. And it's kind of the same thing as like what I just said, like with my daughter. Like I've been all over the country. You know, I've seen different places. I don't want her to just think this is it here
Hmm.
either. So at some point, I definitely want to travel more. My dream is to actually own an RV and to travel the country one day.
There you
It's kind
go.
of that's kind of the dream, and that's already actually kind of in motion a little bit. So we'll see how that goes. But no, to answer long answer to your question, no, I do not want to stay here.
we love long answers. Don't worry.
No, but that answer just shows, you know, the viewers and fans and whoever watches this who you are, and
Hmm.
that's a side of us a lot of people don't see, you know. They just
Hmm.
see the bodybuilding, they just, you know, so that becomes your identity when you have a a whole life you've been through.
Hmm.
Okay.
I love experiencing different cultures. Like I said, my dad's job allowed me to grow up in London, and that was obviously a culture shock. And I think this past year was the first time I re-signed a lease in like 8 years. I had moved almost like every year. This is my fourth time living in Florida for different reasons. And I'm finally decided, okay, I'm 35, like I'm done moving. Like I just need to lay some roots now. But I think it's so important for people to experience different, whether it's cultures, like being abroad or even in the States. There's so many different lifestyles, and it's like playing different sports too. I think it gives a multifaceted viewpoint of the world. You look at everything you do differently. But
Perspective,
I
yeah.
think uh,
Hmm.
I love Florida. I mean, I've worked remotely since COVID, and so I think Florida gives you a good life balance of being able to work remotely and have a great, the climate. It's bodybuilding is a huge. There's a huge bodybuilding hub here. I was considering Vegas for a little bit just because it's also a bodybuilding hub, and I like the climate, or Texas. But those are like or Texas, Arizona, Vegas, and Florida were like where I was really looking, and I decided to just come back to Florida. I already had friends here.
Alaska, from Alabama to Alaska, how was how was that?
Oh, I would go back to Alaska in 2 seconds if I could, honestly. So, in boot camp, so boot camp is 8 weeks. And the beginning of week 6, I believe, it's either week 6 or week 5. They basically, so you know this, Chris, like they give you like a dream sheet of like where you would like to go. You can
Quotations.
request where you would like to go. And before they gave us our dream sheet, my lead company commander, he gave us this whole spiel, like if you're single, you have no kids, no obligations, he's like, go somewhere you would never go otherwise because it's on the government's dime. So he's like, go explore. So I was like, all right, Alaska it is. And shocker, I got it. So, I mean, outside of soccer, I would never consider myself like an outdoorsy person, but I absolutely loved it. So I was actually stationed in Ketchikan, which is one of the most southeastern islands. It's only like a 45, 50-minute flight from Seattle. So super south. It's a rainforest. 10
Wow.
out of the 12 months of the year, it just does nothing but pour. In the summer, though, it gets up to like the 85s. During the winter, the sun goes down like at 3 p.m. And in the height of summer, the sun never really truly goes down. But I remember one time my roommate, she was a civilian, and we played in one of the softball leagues on the island. And she had a Jeep, and the top was off, and we were just driving down the street, and all of a sudden we looked up, and there's two eagles flying with us, like maybe like a foot above her Jeep, and they're just flying with us for probably a good 10, 15 minutes just down the island. So like stuff like that would happen, or orcas all the
That's
time. Like
crazy.
whenever we go on search and rescue missions, we'd see whales or orcas breaching all the time. So like just the environment and the outdoorsy part of it and the animals and nature and all that in itself, you can't beat it. You really I've never seen anything like it before, and I would go back in a heartbeat if I
Whenever I hear
could.
Alaska, I think of the movie, was it The Proposal? Uh,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it's just so different. She's like
Mm-hmm.
chasing the bird and everything.
Yep. I think they were in Juneau was when that one was. So, and one of the really cool things about Alaska is, you can have the best of both worlds. Like Anchorage, for example. Anchorage is a huge city. So you can get the city aspect of it, but it's surrounded by mountains. And I think all the mountains you can get to within like a 4 hour drive. So you can have the city part of it, but you can also have the nature part.
You got
So,
to
and there's,
experience the Northern Lights?
I saw the Northern Lights 4 times, twice by accident, twice I was chasing him.
Just twice by accident. Oh,
Hmm.
look, that's dope.
Literally, like I remember one time we had an after work bonfire. We just looked up and there they were.
That's so
Yeah,
cool. I need to visit at some point. I really want to visit. I
that
think
that camaraderie though is different from the military. Do you feel like there's enough of that in bodybuilding?
So, I'm sure you probably had a similar situation, Chris, when you got out. When I got out of the military, I had a really hard time finding my identity
Adjusting,
and
yeah.
adjusting and finding, I didn't feel like I was doing anything meaningful really anymore. Um, that was, and one of the hardest parts of, transitioning into a civilian is you see all these different people and they think the smallest things in the world actually mean something. Especially like with the rise of social media. Oh, I got 100,000 likes on this picture, and you're like, that doesn't mean shit. Just because of all the things that you've done and you've seen other human beings do.
Yeah,
So that was really difficult for me to like find that identity. I would say almost an identity crisis. But with bodybuilding, I found that like there were so many things that were very similar to like the nature of the military, like the disciplinary aspect of it,
the
the chain
structure.
of command part of it,
Yep.
the routine. Like there were so many things, skill sets that I was able to transfer into bodybuilding that I think just set me up for even more success because of the military for sure.
And just being, I guess, with that military mindset, have you ever found yourself like suffering from like body dysmorphia or any
Every
of
day.
these?
Every day. Like last night, hated how I looked. Woke up this morning, I was like, oh, okay. But last night, almost a come apart. Last night, I was like, this is not good enough. This is not good enough. And my coach is like, calm down, you're fine.
You're fine.
well,
So, I mean, I'm sorry, Alex. Go ahead. Go
I
ahead.
was gonna say this leads to I was thinking about this the other day about filtering the noise. Like there's always going to be noise, and some of it is actually helpful. Like there is some things that like it's 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 one thing to be confident, but you also want to be realistic because being realistic allows you to improve because it's like, okay, like for you, you went to a national show, you said you got your butt kicked, right? You took learnings from it and it's going to make you better. If people are completely oblivious to the noise, they might miss out on that feedback. At the same time, it's like a pendulum, right? You kind of want to be able to find that neutral ground. And especially with something like posing, for example, like I'm a posing coach, and some of my clients have been trying to go to a lot more of these seminars or these workshops. And I tell them, I'm like, it's fine, especially at the beginning, but be careful because once you start to get good at posing, you know, there are so many judges and they all have different preferences. We're in
Mhm.
a it's a subjective sport, right? I've heard there's been a judge that gave me a certain pointer that actually screwed up my posing for a little bit. And same thing with one of my friends who's a pro in MP. He said the same judge gave him a feedback that kind of hurt him when he went to Miami. And so it's not to say like these judges are wrong necessarily. It's just different preferences. And if someone gives you feedback of like, hey, you should do this with your waist or your shoulders, they're not seeing you put that into practice. So they actually don't know what that's going to look like on you. They're just thinking hypothetically, this is what I think you should do. So I always say like long-winded, but like the noise can be helpful. It's just like knowing where to go for the noise and when to tune it out.
Mhm.
But I don't like how do you decide when to listen or when not to listen or like is your circle small? Like how do you go about managing that, especially when you're this close to getting a pro card?
My circle is incredibly, incredibly small. Um, there's very few people who I trust to help give me that kind of realistic feedback. But those are also people that have been in my position. Like they've gone through this, they know what it's about. Um, so I think it's more of, I mean, and a lot of the pressure is just pressure I put on myself. Like I'm sure, like just like you guys, I'm incredibly competitive. So I naturally have that it's not good enough, you can do more kind of attitude, which, plays to your strengths and sometimes it doesn't. But that's why even before you get into prep, that's why it's so important like who your coach is. who you do surround yourself with, who your training buddies are, because there's going to be a point where those people are going to become your most influential people, and those are the people that you're going to need, when you do kind of start going in the hole a little bit mentally. So it's kind of like you have to train, like set yourself up to have that team preparing, knowing that those kind of thoughts are going to happen.
Have you had
Well,
to restructure your circle before? Like, have you had people in your circle that you've had to kick out, or have you been able to keep with the same people throughout?
I had a huge switch. My current coach, Alex, he's my second coach. He wasn't always my coach. I had a really bad experience with my very first coach. And that separation got really nasty and ugly. And so a lot of people ended up not being involved in my life anymore. It ended up turning out to be the best thing in the world. But that drastically changed, and mentally, I took a huge hit on that too for a while. Um, and along with my coach Alex, and really anybody that that's on my team, I am incredibly loyal to a fault. Like I'll go to war for anybody that's on my team. Um, but that's because the people that I'm now with have helped me get through those other hard times too. Like they basically, like I've tested them and they
battle
have
tested.
deserved my trust. Yes, battle tested, exactly.
So in the military, something I learned was like, uh, always have two bags when you're dealing with people. You're gonna take the
Hmm.
good and the bad, right? Because
Hmm.
you've seen great leadership, and I'm sure you've seen like toxic leadership.
Hmm.
And toxic leadership, it may affect you, but then once it affects you, it's gonna affect everyone around you. So,
Hmm.
kudos to you for, you know, taking yourself out of that situation, however it may have ended, and that just shows that everything happens for a reason, and it always gets better.
Exactly. Even if at the time it doesn't seem like it's, for the best. It
Yes.
always, I'm a true believer that everything works out and happens the way it's supposed to. Truly. Um, where I was gonna say something else. It'll come back to me in a second, I promise.
All good. No, I think everyone on this call has dealt with, former coaches that things didn't go as planned. And it's part of the sport. Like,
Hmm.
I'm thinking if I was able to talk to myself back in when I first started, like I would just lead with like just expect to have to burn certain bridges. It's gonna happen.
Hmm.
Some people burn bridges with you, you're gonna burn some bridges with them, and I think the people that are successful are the ones that are able to make that decision and stick with it and not look back.
Hmm. Yeah, because I mean, at the end of the day, bodybuilding is an extremely selfish sport.
Mhm.
It is. But I think arguably it's just as much a team sport as it is individual as well. Like for example, like from a team aspect, um, my coach now, so we were good friends even before he became my coach, and he saw me compete for the state show back in 23, and he called me after and he said, I can tell your body's fighting you. Like I even won the show, and he was like, you need to go to the hospital. So like he's always had like so from basically from the get-go, he's always had my trust because he quite literally saved my life.
Tell us more about that. Like what was wrong?
My kidneys and my liver were shut down.
Hmm.
I was on a so 2023 was my first year competing in bodybuilding ever. Like I never did an off season first. We went straight into prep. And so I was a baby. I mean, I still very much so am a baby in the sport, but I didn't know anything and I didn't ask questions. I think that kind of goes back to like that military kind of mindset. Like you just do what you're told and you do it to the best of your abilities, keep your head down and just go.
Yeah.
Um, I was on copious amounts of gear, like would put CBum to shame gear.
Damn.
It was a lot. It was really, really bad. And luckily for me, we caught it in time. Unfortunately, there's some other people that have been coached by my old coach. I didn't know this at the time, but they've been put in the hospital too. Um, but like my coach now, like he visually saw it. He was like, "Your body's fighting itself. You need to go to
Which
the
show was
doctor."
this that he called
The Alabama State show.
the Alabama State show?
Mhm.
And that's that's interesting. It's a good eye for it.
Was that that was your second coach that saw that?
Yes, the one I currently have. Yes.
So you were having complications from the first coach.
Mm-hmm.
That she wasn't even aware of.
Callie, was
Can
this
you
Nope.
can you
was this
imagine that?
was this just bad
That's
guidance when it came to the PDs? Was this bad guidance?
So with my old coach, I'm not going to name names, but I very much so was used as a show pony.
yeah,
Him and his wife constantly, to my face, called me their meal ticket. Um, whenever we were in the gym, it was very much because I'm strong. I know I'm very genetically gifted. I know I have a lot of gifts when it comes to the fitness and the gym that God has given me. And like whenever we would work out, he would have me, put 1,800 pounds on the leg press just to like show me off on Instagram.
yeah,
Like,
wow,
so it was never about my health and taking care of my body. It was what can I get out of her to make
yeah.
me look good as a coach. It was one of more of those kind of situations.
Yeah,
I,
that's. I mean,
I
I'm.
could only imagine like what was the mindset like during these times. I mean, uh, and not that just because you're female, but a lot of people follow coaches blindly, and it does lead to like a point where you're running to a wall, and you think
Mhm,
you're doing everything in yourself. You're like, man, I'm doing everything I can. Like I'm following their advice, and
mhm.
yeah, it's what did you find yourself like facing like mental
So,
barriers?
so I was in prep. So with my very first coach, I was in prep with him for 9 months. And that was 9 months leading into the state show. After the state show, I believe it was 2 weeks after that, I was supposed to compete at North Americans. And my new coach that I got with, because I don't want to confuse you guys. So that night at the state show, me and my first coach, we actually both competed and we both won. We ended up separating that night. And so I got with my new coach. And originally I was supposed to compete. My new coach's name's Alex Ball, if I haven't said that already. I was supposed to compete at North Americans. And he said, nope, no, you are not competing at North Americans in 2 weeks. He was like, Callie, your body is literally dying. Like, you can't do that. And so at first, I put up a little fight about it. And then we finally agreed, all right, let's give your body a little reset, especially with all the gear and everything. Let's get you off, reset, and then we can try to prep for nationals in Texas in December. So this was like August, I think, was the show, August timeframe. So basically, what we did first was I had to go through a detox. So for a month, I had to detox from all the gear I was on, and I have never been so depressed in my life. I had so many symptoms. I had withdrawals. Um, I lost the ability to swallow. I had this nasty, nasty twitch in my right shoulder, which I actually still have. I had full body rashes, insomnia, um, cold sweats all day, dry mouth. Again, I couldn't swallow. It was really, really hard for me to eat anything unless I like grinded it down to like a paste before trying to swallow it, and I would choke all the time. So for about a month, not only was it physical, but it was absolutely mental. And I got in a real dark place after that because it's one of those things where it's like, you're thinking to yourself, I did everything right. I did everything I was supposed to do. I didn't like, I didn't fight it. I did what I was told, and this is what I get. I think like you just worked your butt off for 9 months just for your body to just attack itself. So that was really difficult. That was really, really hard.
How did you crawl out of that?
Hmm.
How did you crawl out of that mental hole?
My daughter. Because at the end of the day, I do want to push bodybuilding as far as I possibly can. I do want to make a career out of that. However, the Lord blesses me in whatever direction we go.
Amen.
I thank Him for that. Um, but I'm trying to set myself up to support my child as best I can. And in order to do that, I'm trying to use all the gifts that God has given me, and fitness is one of my biggest gifts. So I'm trying to juice it for all it's worth. So at the end of the day, I bodybuild because I'm trying to make a life for my child.
That no, that's great. That's inspiring. Do you have any advice for, any other women that might be struggling through something similar, but they can't pick up on the red flags or
Hmm. Don't be afraid to ask questions. Don't be afraid to ask for help. Um, and especially when it comes to being like a single parent, I get asked a lot of times, like, how do I make it work? If you want something bad enough, you will not make excuses for it. You will make it work. And it's kind of like how we talked earlier, like bodybuilding is very much a lifestyle change. just like anything else, if you want it bad enough, you will make it happen. It's all about just putting in that little extra bit of effort. And even if it's more and more effort that's required, you will figure it out if it's truly something you want to do.
Yeah, I think again going back to the pendulum, that analogy can work for so many different ways. Like with coaches especially now acting as if they're basically your athlete manager, your doctor, and all these other roles that aren't really shouldn't really be under them, right? I think it's super important. The if I had to give a piece of advice for people listening in terms of like coaching, which is the most important decision you have to make as an athlete, is your coach going to listen to your questions? Because if you're asking a question, especially if it's health related, and they're dodging it, or especially if they're giving you shit for asking that question in the first place, like fire them right away, like right then.
Mhm.
G on our call right now, he's coaches both of us. And I think the natural inclination for some people in the sport is like, so why aren't you going to an Olympian to coach you or a professional? Like I've been coached by an Olympian. It's not that great. It's like, just because they're an Olympian, they could be the most genetically gifted person in the world, and maybe they didn't have to work quite as hard, whatever, maybe they did. There could be a million reasons why they got to where they got to. It doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to give you the best advice. Just like I'm sure there's a lot of professional soccer players in the world that wouldn't make a great soccer coach.
Soccer coach, yeah.
So,
Mhm.
like I remember my last coach I was stuffing 6,000 calories down me a day. And that's when I was natural. Like I wasn't even enhanced yet. So it's like certain nonsensical things. And when I would ask questions about digestion or feeling horrible, it was basically like,
Hey, shut up and do it.
gaslighting. It's like why you probably don't care enough if you're asking these questions.
Mhm.
And that's just a shame. And so now like with our coach G, like, we every time I ask him a question today and he just gives me his answer, he's not making me feel bad about asking that question. And that's like the biggest thing. I'm glad you're open about it because like more athletes need to hear this. You're in that position. There's so many people out there that are in that position of like, "Oh, I'm just so close to my pro card. I want it so bad. And they lose sight of so many other important decisions they have to make for longevity. So thank you for being open about it because some athletes just don't really talk about it.
No, and at least locally, so after me and my first coach split, like I said, it was really messy. And a lot of people, him and his wife specifically, they really tried to trash my name in the bodybuilding community here. Like his wife even said the very last thing she ever said to me was, "I'm gonna personally make sure you never compete ever again," kind of thing. I'm like, yeah, okay. Um, so
This is
they tried very
this is horrible.
hard to, it's listen, this will be a good story time one day. But so they quite literally tried to drag my name throughout the entire community here, and I mean drag it. And I just stayed quiet because I'm like, I want to see who actually listens and who doesn't.
That's
Um,
beautiful. That's beautiful because it shows like, hey, who if you're gonna believe them and not come to me and ask me for my
I don't
side,
need you.
exactly. I see who
Yeah, I
you
don't
are.
need you in my life. And also, if anybody's gonna believe that I'm actually capable of doing all these things that they're saying, I don't want people around me that think I would do that kind of
Yeah.
thing. So for 2 years, I kept my mouth shut, and I've just been letting my hard work do all the talking for me.
And
So
and most importantly, you keep you. It sounds like you keep God centered in your life, and I think
absolutely.
that's what other grounding practices have you done to keep you just at that level? Because 2 years, I mean, I've been through a similar situation with a prior gym that I used to be at, and I know how ugly it is because it's like kind of like, dang, this was your community, and now you gotta
Mm-hmm.
start all over again. But
Mm-hmm.
the people that know you and know who you are gonna truly rock with you throughout.
Mm-hmm. And I think I don't know if domino effect's the right kind of word, but because of that whole situation, I did see who was actually there for me and who I can actually trust to have my back when I'm not in the room. Kind of thing. So it actually made my circles not only smaller but tighter.
Yeah,
So that actually helped an incredible amount. And also another thing I do is a lot of people don't know this, but I'm also going back to school. I'm using my GI Bill.
there you go.
I'm going back to school for biblical and theological studies.
Nice.
So I don't know necessarily what I would do with that career wise. I'm more doing it as a way of self improvement for myself to become a better and stronger Christian.
Hmm.
And that's also another thing that's really helped me in this prep to kind of keep my mind focused and not going haywire and all over the place. So I've been going back to school, and that's helped an incredible amount. So between that, my gym community, and my daughter keeping me on my toes 24/7, I'm pretty engaged the entire time, honestly.
That's powerful. And so I feel like everybody needs that, spiritual guidance and grounding when stuff gets tough, because bodybuilding does get, you do get in your head a lot. So
Absolutely.
where do you run to, And
Mm-hmm.
I agree.
You
I
with
agree.
your social media, like obviously you've started to pop off a little bit, right? Like certain channels are starting to share your
Mm-hmm.
posts, and obviously when you do get your pro card, it's probably you can only speed up from there. How have you? Are you mindful about this? Like, have you been able to catch yourself? We always have those moments, each one of us, where you're on that high, right? Like maybe you're getting that attention and gratification from people, which does feel good. It's only human that for it to feel good. Um, how do you manage that? Like, have you had a certain moment that's been like defining for you where it's like, no, it's like I'm not gonna go down that route. Like if I grow,
Mm-hmm.
I grow. It's good for my brand, but like I'm gonna stay true to who I am.
Yeah, I'm kind of going through the motions of it currently. Like, yeah, my social media is kind of starting to pop off, and I'm getting some pretty good sponsors. But I think just because of timing wise, it's kind of like how you guys have probably noticed on my social media. I don't post a lot of like workout specific videos. It's more like posing and stuff, just because that's not where my mind is when I'm in the gym. Like, my mind isn't about shooting. Now, granted, this might change later down the road, but like when I'm in the gym, my thought isn't, oh, I need to record this or I need to showcase this. Or like when I'm in the gym, I'm there to work. Right.
Yeah.
And so that's something that I'm actually just now starting to get my feet a little bit more wet with, and having to learn to adjust with that. Because, of course, with all these other things that are happening, I'm going to have to implement that in my life, and I'm going to have to make more of a focus on that. So the hope is that after when I do win my pro card this weekend, is during my off season, I can switch to kind of do more of the social media stuff full time too. And I'll have the energy for it too.
It's
Most importantly.
it's hard because if you want to, I mean, you just mentioned before how you're trying to build a life for your daughter, right?
Mhm.
And social media is kind of a job in itself.
It
And to
is.
your point, like it's you're finding out the duality of wanting to grow your brand, but also and giving people a sneak peek. But then you're also, hey, look, I have a job to do in the gym. So like I know for us, like because we all train together, usually maybe at the end of the workout, it's easy to have someone just take a quick something for
Hmm.
you. But I remember like, especially when I first get there and I got my energy drink, I'm thinking about like what I got to get done. Like that's like the last thing in my mind.
Hmm.
So I can see where that comes into play. I think for you, like I'm sure your posing videos go pretty well too, like in terms of like being viral or getting traction.
Hmm.
But obviously, I know people are going to want to see like, well, what did she do to get that size, like, and her
Hmm.
legs? Transitioning into like the training aspect, like, what have you done or like to alter your training or to see that growth? Because looking through your profile and like trying to get a sense of your timeline, it looks like you've added that size relatively quickly. Not saying it wasn't hard to do, but like
Hmm.
you, genetics are one thing. Like pretty much
Hmm.
anyone in the sport has some sort of genetics, right? But like, what have you done in the gym specifically that's helped the most?
I think in and out of the gym, I've been consistent. I've been so consistent with my lifestyle. Like, I've never missed a meal. I've never missed a check-in. I've never missed a gear. I've never um, like mess with the dosages of my gym. Like, kind of going back to that military mindset. You give me a list, I'm gonna do it. Like black and white, A, B, C. I'm gonna do it to the T, and I'm never gonna miss either. So I think because I was consistent for 2 years, that helped. I also changed my training style a little bit. For growth specifically, it was more heavier weight, lower reps, more focusing on the pausing, the squeezing, the hypertrophy aspect of it. That was a huge game changer. That's when I really started noticing the gains, when I started training more like that, as opposed to, as I think I mentioned already, I started off as a power lifter, and I still mentally am a power lifter. Sometimes I'm very much an ego lifter. I love doing the big lifts and trying to be competitive with other people. So I hadn't had to train myself to get out, still have that competitive spirit with the powerlifting, but it's like, all right, now you got to train with a purpose. know what I mean? You got to engage certain things. You got to feel certain things. You got to hold it. There's certain steps that I wasn't quite focusing on before that I started to. And once you started training with intention, that made the biggest difference in the world for me in terms of training.
Yeah. Yeah. I know working with G, he basically told me I was overtraining. So I was doing
Hmm.
too many working sets. I was doing maybe 4 working sets with a drop set in the last set, and it was
Hmm.
just too much. So now it's more of like a warm up, a build up, and then 2 working sets. And I've tried to keep my reps a little lower. So I think obviously now being on PEDs, it helps too. And it's peace of mind. I think when I was natural, I was like, I have to do more than everyone else.
Hmm.
Otherwise, what business do I have being there? And now that like with taking gear, I feel like it's almost easier for me to just trust the process and not worry so much about that. For
Hmm.
you, like how early on did you start PEDs? Was it like right as you started the sport, or did you start natural and then you kind of progressed from there
Oh, right away.
right away?
Hmm. I don't necessarily regret doing that. But like when my first, like I said, when I got with my first coach, I didn't know anything about it. I was very open to the idea. I didn't know that. I mean, and I'm older too. I'll be 33 this year. So I think maybe I might have kind of maxed out my body's potential anyways to begin with. But he immediately like let's hit the ground running. Here's 8 different things. Take
Right.
them all starting now. And I was like, okay.
Good old salad.
You have a very
He's
similar
like, you know,
Chris, I feel
that's a
like
smorgasbord.
Chris, I feel like she's had a very similar introduction to the sport as you did.
Yeah,
We
no,
spoke about this the
it's
other day.
I,
He was,
and that's why I laugh. I'm not laughing at you. I'm just
yeah.
laughing because of PTSD. That's how
Oh,
that's
you
a
know, you're
coping
good.
that's a
No,
coping mechanism
we can
for
trauma
me.
bond, honey. It's fine.
Because like I trained for 4 years naturally before I decided and done 3 shows before I decided to go on. And Chris was just talking about his experience and how he started, and it was way different. And it's I think PD shaming has to stop. Like I think at the end of the day, like an F1 driver puts his body at risk, right? Every day. Every race you're at risk, or every sport, it's more of like how you go about those risks. It feels like the industry is starting to make a bit of a shift in terms of like health first. I know CBUM probably led a lot of that, but you do see bodybuilders being a lot more transparent about and almost like proud of. I would say that's probably the best way to describe it. Is these bodybuilders are now proud to showcase that they're being safe about it,
Mhm.
and I think that's definitely a good thing. But that's something I've noticed lately, probably over the past year or so.
When you see a bodybuilder pass away, what's the first, thought that comes to your head? Oh, what was he taking? How much was he taking? So I think, and I'm appreciative of my coach, Giancarlo, because he's more pragmatic with the approach as opposed to other coaches. We're just like you said, they give you a smorgasbord of
Mhm.
drugs and say, hey, take them like
Mhm.
they're gummy bears, and
Mhm.
then you just blah blah blah, and then what happens? Your body's fighting you, like you saw on stage, and it took another coach to be like, "Hey, you don't look healthy."
Mhm.
So, Kelly, you're on way
So
less now, basically. You're just more is less, less is more kind of
Mhm.
mindset. Okay, that's good.
that's it.
Yeah, yeah. And I know like certain compounds, like there's different types of tests or other compounds, right? That finding the right one that works for you. It's a bit like how you could
Mhm.
have a food allergy, right? Like certain compounds just don't really mix well with a certain person.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah, and like like right now, and pretty much this entire prep, I've only taken 2 things, and I also have PCOS. So that's one of the reasons like I take tests, but that's to help balance my natural test levels. So my natural test levels are sky high, but definitely less is way. My body's responded so much better, and I
So
feel
with the
better, look better.
PCOS, you feel like the testosterone has helped
Hmm.
because I see a lot of females suffering from that. So
Hmm.
that's a good topic to bring up.
And it's also women have different symptoms with PCOS. Now I will say, shoot, I don't care about talking about this. So with PCOS, one of the side effects is body hair. I get the body hair, and the test has helped a little bit. It has, but people will see. So I'll get like little scruff on my chin, and people will automatically want to blame gear.
Yeah.
They were like, "Oh, you're taking tests. You're taking tests." I'm like, "Nope, I've had this since I was 9 years old."
No, I
Thank you
went
very
to a
much.
coffee shop in New York and this, woman had a full, like a full beard, like it was thicker than mine. And I'm not trying to laugh at her,
No,
but,
I don't get that. I don't get.
but,
I'm like,
No,
but you
no.
wonder, like,
They
oh,
took it
okay,
to
yeah,
another level.
yeah. It was like very,
You had
like,
it groomed and everything.
yeah,
like
no, I
shaped,
could
like,
see. I couldn't do that. Some people are like, just accept it. I'm like, no.
No.
yeah, no, I mean,
Um,
but it's good to pick up on the
real
little,
quick, guys, need
cues.
to quick ad plug. This podcast is brought to you by Wolfpack. We align with their mindset, never average, always a wolf. Use code lifted at checkout and make your mark. Callie, I know you've joined the Wolfpack family recently, so
Oh,
congrats
Hey,
on joining the fam.
It's because of y'all.
that's
Well,
awesome.
you,
yeah,
and I'm glad that we're able to, bring other athletes into the light, like Callie, you've been working your butt off to make it to this stage. You should have sponsors, right? It shouldn't just be for the pros.
Mhm,
Because at the end of the day, to be a pro, you gotta, act like one and,
mhm,
do the work to be one. So why not get noticed now?
Yeah,
mhm.
you
But
are
it's
the
cool.
walking brand.
Sorry, what?
You're the brand.
But it's cool to see, especially podcasts like this, when you kind of bring on other people that you might not be as familiar with, because in terms of especially like with bodybuilding and marketing, and I totally understand it from a marketing standpoint, but you see a lot of people that are just really, really pretty and just have genetically average kind of bodies, if that makes any kind of sense.
Hmm.
Like, I want to hear from the people that I know are actually working their butts off, like that are doing what I'm doing. Those are people that influence me.
yep.
So it's cool to see podcasts or platforms like this that are bringing on other people that they might not be heard of from otherwise. You
Yeah.
know.
I'm glad you noticed that because when we only started in I think February, and I believe this is what our 18th
Mhm.
episode. We made a point to yes, we want the pros on, right? We just had Tyler Smith who just got his first Olympia qualification as an MP athlete from Britain, but we also want to highlight the amateurs that have been grinding and don't get that limelight.
Mhm.
It's been a pleasure having you on, and I'm appreciative for you being so transparent with both the good and bad of your experience in the sport. Transparency is the only way we're gonna keep the sport honest and
Mhm.
progressing. Um, we consider you a friend now, so we'll be rooting for you on Friday, and I'll definitely be getting on the live stream. But I think you should go into it with all the confidence in the world. You look really good.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. I'm excited. I'm really, really excited.
Let's get a quick snap for the gram. Um, but yeah, Cal, we would love to have you back on in the future just
Of
to
course.
catch up, and especially, once you're in
Yeah,
the pro
with the pro
rank.
car.
With the
Yeah,
pro
yeah.
car right
And
here.
you'll be at the Olympia too at some point. I know that for sure. And um, you know, G and I are in deep prep right now. So yeah, it'll be fun to meet, all the people that we have coming on a weekly basis and then being able to see them at shows in the future and like building
Mhm.
that network of like-minded people is so important. So thank you for coming on and joining us.
Well, thank y'all for inviting me. This was my first podcast ever, so this was really cool.
Oh no, it's
Yeah.
a pleasure to have you on. But yeah, definitely we'll be tuning in and we'll be cheering for you on Friday.
Good
Well,
luck,
thank you
Callie.
guys. Thank
Bring
you.
it
I
All right,
home.
Best of
appreciate
Callie.
it,
luck. Kill
y'all.
it.
Okay,
Take care.
bye.